hearing the same question over and over right now. Christine, should I buy now? Or should I wait until the fall? And honestly, it's a fair question. Interest rates are still higher than many buyers would like. Inventory has been increasing. Some homes are sitting on the market longer than they were even a few years ago. And it can feel like maybe, just maybe, a better opportunity is right around the corner. But here's the problem. Most buyers are trying to predict the future instead of understanding what is happening right now. And that can lead to some expensive mistakes. So in today's video, I want to walk you through what I am seeing here in Utah, what typically happens as we move toward the fall, and how to decide what makes sense for your situation. Because the right answer may not be what you think. Hi, I am Christine, owner of Wings and Roots of Utah, affiliated with Keller Williams Utah Realtors. And if you are thinking about buying a home in Utah, relocating here, or simply trying to understand what the market is doing, please make sure to subscribe, because every week I create videos designed to help buyers like you make confident decisions. Let's jump in. The reason this question keeps coming up is because buyers feel stuck between two competing thoughts. On one hand, they want to move forward. Maybe they're tired of renting. Maybe they've outgrown their current home. Maybe they're relocating to Utah for work or for family. But on the other hand, they're wondering if waiting could save them money. What if the rates drop? What if the prices for homes soften? What if there are more homes available later this year? And these are all reasonable questions. The challenge is that most buyers are not really trying to time the market. They're trying to avoid making a mistake. And I can completely understand that. Because buying a home is going to be one of the biggest financial decisions most people will ever make. And nobody wants to feel like they bought at the wrong time. But here's something important that I want you to remember. There will always be a reason to wait. Even when rates were in the 3s, people waited because they thought prices might come down. When prices softened on the homes, people waited because they thought rates might improve. When rates improve, some people will wait because they think prices might adjust. There is always another headline. There is always another prediction. Which is why I encourage buyers to focus less on trying to predict the market and more on understanding their own situation. One thing I've noticed over the last several months is that many buyers are sitting on the sidelines waiting for certainty. They're waiting for the prices to drop. They're waiting for the rates to drop. They're waiting for the news to say that the market has officially improved. They're waiting for someone to tell them this is the perfect time to buy. The problem is that real estate rarely gives us that perfect signal. In fact, by the time everyone feels confident again, competition often increases right along with that confidence. What I am seeing right now is a market that offers buyers more opportunities than they've had in several years. Many buyers have more inventory to choose from. Some sellers are offering concessions. Buyers have more time to think through decisions than they did during the frenzy time just a few years ago. And that doesn't mean every home is sitting. It doesn't mean every seller is desperate. Good homes that are priced well still attract attention. But buyers generally have more breathing room than they did when homes were receiving multiple offers within hours. And for many people, that breathing room is valuable. Now let's talk about what usually happens here in Utah as we move from summer into the fall. Spring and early summer tend to be our busiest seasons. Families often want to move before the school year starts. So after the school year ends, before the school year starts. Many sellers will list during the warmer months. Activity is usually at its highest during this time of the year. As we start to move into late summer and fall, things do often begin to slow down. The buyers who are still shopping tend to definitely be more serious. Some sellers become more motivated because they too would like to move before winter arrives. That can sometimes create opportunities. But here's what many people forget. The best homes are still the best homes. The most desirable neighborhoods are still desirable neighborhoods. And if rates improve even a little, maybe those buyers who are currently waiting may decide to jump back into the market at the same time. So while waiting can create opportunities, it does not automatically guarantee a better deal. Sometimes waiting helps. Sometimes it simply changes the competition. Let me give you a couple of examples. The first buyer is financially ready. They have a stable income. Their down payment is saved. They talked with a lender. They're planning to stay in the home for several of years. Now, for that buyer, waiting may not create a dramatically different outcome. In fact, they may benefit from taking advantage of the opportunities available today. Now, let's look at the second buyer. Maybe they're still building savings. Maybe they're paying off debt. Maybe they are planning a job change or a major life transition. Now, for that buyer, waiting may actually be the smartest decision. Not because of the market, but because they are strengthening their financial position. Now, question, do you see the difference? One decision is based on trying to predict the market. The other is based on personal readiness. And personal readiness is often far more important. When people talk about waiting, they usually focus on rates or home prices. But I think the biggest risk is something else entirely. The biggest risk is assuming that waiting automatically improves your situation. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. What if rates fall, but competition increases? What if prices continue to rise? What if the right home for your family is available today? None of us have a crystal ball. Not me. Not the lenders. Not the economists. And definitely not the people on television making predictions. And because nobody knows exactly what the future holds, buyers need to be careful about making decisions based solely on what they hope might happen. So instead of asking, should I buy now or wait until fall? Maybe try asking yourself a different question. Something like, am I personally ready to buy? Do I have a stable income? Do you have your down payment saved? Do you understand what your monthly payment would look like? Do you plan to stay in the home long enough to benefit from ownership? Have you spoken with a lender and reviewed your options? If those answers are yes, then it may be worth seriously exploring what's available right now. The buyers who tend to be most successful are not usually the ones who perfectly time the market. They are the ones who make informed decisions based on their goals, their finances, and their timeline. Okay, so to recap, today we talked about why so many buyers are asking whether they should wait, what I'm seeing in today's Utah market, what typically happens as we move towards the fall. I gave you 2 different buyer scenarios. I talked about the biggest risks of waiting and how to know if you are personally ready. The truth is, there is no perfect time to buy. There is only the right time for your situation. If you're trying to decide whether buying now or waiting until the fall makes more sense for your situation, I would be happy to help you walk through the numbers and build a plan. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who is trying to make the same decision. Again, I am Christine, owner of Wings and Roots of Utah, affiliated with Keller Williams Utah Realtors. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.